Section 118 to 121 of the Transfer Property Act, which deals with the exchange. The topic exchange is most important for sake of exam. Please note down the question here for exchange. Write a note on exchange. Write a note on exchange. Section 118 of the Transfer Property Act, which deals with the definition of exchange. Here, when two persons mutually they transfer the ownership of one thing for the ownership of the another, neither thing or both things being money only, the transaction is called as an exchange. Here, exchange means transferring of ownership in a property for consideration of ownership of another property. It's called exchange. But transferring of ownership for consideration of money means if I transfer my property to another person for consideration, the consideration is a money, then it amounts to the sale. But transferring of ownership for consideration of ownership of another property, I am transferring my property, the another person is going to transfer his property to me as a consideration, that amounts to the exchange. And transfer of ownership without consideration means there is no consideration which is paid by the another party, then it amounts to the gift. This is the difference between sale, exchange and the gift. Exchange means it's a transferring of ownership for the another property. Ownership of one thing for the ownership of another is called exchange. Here let's see what are the essentials of the exchange. The essentials under the exchange are, here there must be two parties, and the parties are the owners of the property. They must be the owner of the property, and the parties, they must be mutually transfer the ownership. They must transfer mutually the ownership of one property to the ownership of the another property. And here the parties, they must transfer the ownership of one form to the another form of money. And transfer of immovable properties of value of rupees 100, value of rupees 100 needs to be writing and it must be registered. Section 118 of the Transfer Property Act, which deals with the exchange, and Section 120 of the Transfer Property Act, which deals with the rights and liabilities of the parties for the exchange. Here, each party is having the rights and is subject to the liabilities of a seller as to that which he gives, and has the rights and subject to the liabilities of a seller as to that which he gives, and has the rights in subject to the liabilities of a buyer as to that which he takes. Under this section, that is under section 120, that is the rights and duties of the parties to an exchange of immovable property are the same as that of the seller and buyer, which is dealt under section 55 of the Transfer of Property Act. Today I am going to start with gift under Transfer of Property Act. That is section 122 to 129 of the TP Act, which deals with the gift. Here you have to note down only few sections under gift. That is section 122, which deals with the gift, and section 126, which deals with the when gift may be suspended or revoked, and section 127, which deals with the onerous gift, and section 128, which deals with the universal dowry. These are the important questions under gift. Please note down the questions. Define gift. Explain the essentials of a valid gift. Next question. Write a note on onerous gift. Take down next question. What is gift? When a gift may be revoked. One more question. Write a note on universal donee. These are the important questions which comes under the gift. Let me start section 122. Section 122 defines what is gift. Gift is also a transfer of ownership. But the difference between gift and sale is also a transfer of ownership and gift is also a transfer of ownership. But there under sale it is with consideration. That is, the amount has to be paid by the transferee as a consideration. But here under gift there is no need of consideration. It is a without consideration. The transferring of the ownership takes place between two parties, that is inter vivas, without consideration. It is also called as a gratuitous transfer. Here gift is a transfer of certain existing movable or immovable property made voluntarily and without consideration by one person called as donor and the other person is called as a donee, and accepted by or on behalf of the donee is called as a gift. Here gift can be made by at the presence of two parties, that is two parties must also be present, that is inter vivas, and it may take place, that is a testamentary gift also. Testamentary means that is a gift takes place, that is a gift can be done at the death of, after the death of the person, which comes in, it is the property can be transferred. It is a testamentary gift, that is a will. But here the provisions of this act, of the TP Act, are applicable only to the gifts inter vivas, not to the will. Next is acceptance has to be made by the donee. When the donor he transfers the property, when gives his property to the donee, that is the donee has to accept that gift. Here acceptance when to be made by the donee here, let us see. Here such acceptance must be made during the lifetime of the donor and while still capable of giving. And here if the donee dies before the acceptance, the gift is void. Here the two things you have to know under gift is, it is a transferring of ownership from one person to another, from donor to donee, and it is without consideration. These are the two elements which you have to know under the gift. Next is essentials of gift. Transfer of ownership, subject matter, without consideration, voluntarily, acceptance. These are the essentials of the gift. Let us see one by one. The first essential is parties or transfer of ownership. Here transferor is called the donor and the transferee is called the donee. Here gift is the transferring of ownership of the absolute interest. Here not the partial interest has been transferred. Here the absolute interest has been transferred from one person to another. Like other transfers, gift may also be made subject to certain conditions. That is, the donor while he is gifting the property, he can put certain conditions to the donee and he can transfer like other transfers. But donor must be of the age of majority, sound mind, must be the owner of the property, must be having a right over the property, then only he can transfer the property. And your donee may be of a majority, maybe a person of majority, or he may be a minor also. He can accept the, that is the property can be transferred to the minor. A gift which is made to minor or insane person or even in the favor of the child, even in the mother's home, is valid provided it is lawfully accepted by a competent person on his behalf. Next essential is subject matter. What is subject matter here? under gift, subject matter is the property. The property must be in existence at the date of the transfer. Either it may be movable or immovable. It must be in existence. And gift of future property is void. Let us see the case law. T.V. Subbamma versus T. Ratnamma. That is in the year 1987, Supreme Court 1775. In this case, that is a transfer of undivided coparcenary property without consent of all the coparceners is not a gift. Because here there is no transfer. New rights has not been transferred here. So it's not a gift. And one more case, Munilal Mato versus Chandrasekhar Mato. In this case, court has made decree of partition. The shares are definite but physically undivided. This can be gifted. Next is the without consideration. It is a consideration is one of the other third essential element of the gift. Consideration is here essential feature of gift is that it must be gratuitous, means without consideration. Consideration should be here under the gift. The consideration should be love and affection. Property transferred in consideration of love and affection is a transfer without consideration. Hence, it is a gift. Next is voluntarily. That is the donor when he transfers the property absolutely to the donee. At the time, that is a transfer must be made by the donor voluntarily without any undue influence, without any coercion, without any force, without fraud. He has to make the transfer of his property. That is voluntarily he has to make the gift of the property. Here, voluntarily means that is the donor has made the gift in exercise of his own free will and his consent is as free consent. Here, his consent is free when he has complete freedom of making the gift without any force, fraud or undue influence. Here, burden of proof lies on the donee, that's the person who receives the gift, to prove that gift was made voluntarily with free consent. This has to be proved by the donee who receives the gift. Next is acceptance. When donor gives his property, it is the acceptance is the main essential element of the gift. If the donee does not accept, the gift cannot be transferred. Here, gift must be accepted by the donee. That is, the donee may refuse the gift. Here, the donee is also having the right to refuse or reject the gift which is made by the donor. When it is non-beneficial property or onerous gift, at the time, that is, the donee can refuse the gift. Here, let us see what is the meaning of the onerous gift. Here, onerous gift means which is burdened. That is, gift of such property, the burden or liability on the property is more. It is called as a onerous gift. Example, revenue or taxes of which exceeds its actual market value of the property. That is the onerous gift. Here, donee may refuse the offer of gift of such properties. Acceptance of the gift is therefore necessary under the gift, is one of the essential element under the gift. The acceptance must be made during the lifetime of the donor. The acceptance of the gift must be completed before the donor dies or becomes incompetent. But if the donee dies before acceptance, the gift is void. These are all the essentials of the gift. Next we shall go to section 123, which deals with the transfer how effected. Here, as I told you earlier, that is a transferring of the property or gifting the property can be made. Whether it may be movable or immovable, the property can be transferred. When it is a movable property, at that time only delivery of possession is enough. But when it is a gift of immovable property, but it may be any value, it must be in writing and it must be registered. This is what the transfer is effected and under through registration as well as the delivery of person. Next, section 124 of the Transfer Property Act, which deals with the gift of existing and future property is void. Here you have to note down that it is a main essential element of the gift is the property must be in existence. Then only the person can transfer his property to the another person. And the parties must also be in existence as well as the parties as well as the property must also be in existence. But gift of future property, that is, a person cannot gift the property which comes in which the right over the property comes in future. Here, gift of future property is void under section 124 of the Transfer of Property Act. Next is section 125. Section 125 of the TP Act, which deals with the gift to several of whom one does not accept. This section is important. Many times they asked it in the problems. Here, gift to several of whom one does not accept means gift may be made to one to two or more persons jointly it can be made. But for validity of such gift, acceptance by all the donees is necessary. Where a gift is made to several donees of whom one does not accept the gift on his part only is void. Gift in favor of the other donees stands valid. That is, when the gift is made to several donees jointly, at the time any one donee does not accept the gift stands void only on his part, and gift in favor of the other donees stands valid. Next section 126 of the Transfer Property Act, which deals with the when gift may be revoked or suspended. Here it says that when gift may be suspended or revoked, when the gift has been made, that is when the donee has accepted, he gets the property absolute right over the property. But it can, when the donor has made the gift and the donee has also accepted it, but the donor can revoke it or suspend the gift. Let us see under which conditions the donor can revoke back. Here, gift is a transferring of ownership without consideration. Like other transfers, gift too can be made subject to certain conditions. Section 126 lays down two modes of revocation of gift. Here, general principle is that once a gift is always a gift. That is, once a gift has been made, it is an absolute transferring of ownership to the donee. It is, a gift is permanent and not revocable by the donor. It is a general principle, but it is unfair to revoke the gift. But it can be revoked by the donor in the following circumstances. Let us see under which circumstances the donor can revoke back, can take back the gift. Two circumstances where the gift can be revoked by the donor. That is, on the happening of a contingent event or absence of a free consent. Under these two circumstances where the property can be revoked back by the donor. The first is on the happening of a contingent event. Here, donor and donee must agree that the gift shall be suspended or revoked upon the happening of an event, not dependent on the will of the donor. Not depends on the will of the donor, but that is the donor and donee they have to agree that the gift shall be revoked upon the happening of an event. But it does not depend on the will of the donor. Here, the condition on the non-fulfillment of which the donor may revoke the gift must be expressly laid down in the deed. the condition which is the condition which is laid down by the donor, that is, it has to be laid down in the gift deed itself, on which the donor may revoke on non-fulfillment of the condition by the donee. That condition, that must be laid down in the deed itself. Even though a condition is not laid down in the gift deed itself and has been provided under mutual agreement, means whatever the condition which has been put by the donor, it has not been mentioned in the gift deed, but there is a mutual agreement between the donor and donee. Separately there is an agreement. It forms part of the transaction of gift only, and that condition would be valid and enforceable. Next is absence of free consent. Here, when there is an absence of free consent, means without free consent, that is by force, where the donor has made the gift of the property to the donee, at that time, that is, the donor can revoke back the property from the donee. It is the absence of free consent, where he has not given the consent freely. It is the donor, at the time the donor is having the right to revoke back. That is, when the donor proves the making of the gift by coercion, fraud, undue influence, then the court will put an end to the gift deed. Here, that is, one case is there, Manu Singh versus Umadat Pandey. In this case, that is, a man who is aged about 65 years is influenced by Swamiji and got a registered gift deed in his name. It has excluded all his family members from the property. Here, the court accepted the proof of undue influence and cancelled the gift deed in this case. Section 127 of the Transfer of Property Act, which is with the onerous gift. This section is most important for sake of exam. Already I have given you the question which comes under section 127. Here, as I told you, I explained you already. It is what is onerous. Onerous means it is a burden. It is onerous gift is a gift of such property which is burdened with liabilities. When the donor he gives the property to the donee, that is where the burden is more to the donee. It is a onerous gift. It is a non-beneficial property. It is called as onerous gift. Let me give you an example for this. If the market value of a house is rupees 10,000, the market value of the house is just only rupees 10,000, but the taxes, public charges or dues on the property, it is worth rupees 15,000. Then the house is an onerous gift. There is no benefit on that property to the donee. Here, gift of this house would be liability for the donee rather than any asset. He does not get any asset here. Is it more liability to the donee? Here, where under section 127, it says that it deals with where a single gift consists of several properties. That is, donor has made the single gift, but there are several properties which has been gifted to the donee. Here, some of which are onerous and other properties are beneficial. At that time, donee must accept the whole gift. Here, there is no choice for the donee to accept the which is beneficial and reject the which is burden. He has to accept the whole gift when it has been made, when it is a single gift which has been made to the donee. Here, the donee is not allowed to accept beneficial and reject the onerous gift. The principle underlying this rule is based on the maxim Cusin sit commodum debet het sentire honus. It means one who accepts the benefit of a transaction must also accept the burden of it. That is, the person who needs the benefit of the property also should also accept the liabilities. That's the burden of the property. But under this provision, it also says that if a gift is made in the form of two or more independent rights to the same person, the donee is at liberty to accept the beneficial and refuse the onerous property. Here, the gift has been made by the donor to the donee independently. There are many properties, but it has been made independently to the donee. At that time, that is, the donee is having the right to accept the beneficial one and refuse the onerous gift. Since the gifts are independent of each other, donee is not bound to accept both the gifts. But when it is a single gift which has been made to the donee, at that time there is no option for the donee. He has to accept the whole gift. But the properties, when it has been made independently, it has been transferred to the same person. At that time, that is, the donee is having the right to take the beneficial and refuse the onerous gift. And let us see what is disqualified donee. Here, onerous gift is made to the disqualified donee. Example, minor. And such donee accepts the gift. But the minor is having the right to repudiate the gift. He can give back that gift. When he can give back, that is a minor. He is a disqualified donee. He is not a qualified. When he attains the age of majority, he can repudiate the gift which is made by the donor. That is called as a disqualified donee. That is, on attaining the majority, that is, the donee may accept or reject the whole gift. Next is section 128, which is with the universal donee. Here, universal donee means donor has gifted his whole property, entire property to the donee. There is no remaining property which is left with the donor. Entire property will be transferred to the donee is called as a universal donee. Universal donee is a person who gets all the properties, whether it may be movable or immovable, of the donor under a gift is called a universal donee. Here, donor, he makes a gift of his whole property without retaining anything to himself. Such kind of donee is called universal donee. But if any property remains or left with a donor, that donee is not called as a universal donee. So, entire property, whether it may be a movable or immovable, it must be transferred to the donee. Next is the last topic is section 130 to 137 of the Transfer Property Act, which deals with the actionable claims. This topic I already discussed under section 3. I explained you already. It is actionable claims. Actionable claim means that it is an unsecured debt. That is, for example, it's an unsecured debt. It's called as an actionable claim. That is a tangible, whether the property can be transferred, that is, it may be a movable or immovable. And here we have to know the tangible movables and the intangible movables. Tangible movables means which can be seen, such as table or car or chairs, which can be seen by the person. That is, tables or cars are the physical existence and which can be possessed. But intangible movables, such as being in the form of right, have no physical existence and cannot be possessed also. Here, tangible movables can be known simply by its physical existence, but intangible movables may be known only when the person having such interest claims it by maintaining an action in the court of law, then only it can be known that the person is having the right over that property under intangible immovable property. Example, let me give an example for this. If A has a table, it can be known by seeing the possession of the table with A. But if A has right or claim to get back the money given by him to B, then A's claim can be known only if files a suit against the B for the recovery of his money. Here, it may be stated that the beneficial interest of a person in some movable property is an actionable claim of that person. Here, the definition of actionable claim was included in section 3 of the TP Act in 1900. Here, it is according to section 3 of the TP Act, it is actionable claim means it is an unsecured money debt where there is no security which has been given for the money debt is called as an actionable claim. And actionable claim also means a claim to the beneficial interest in movable property not in possession of the claimant. The person who is claiming is not in his possession.